Alright there. Welcome to Izzo's place. So, it's Toolsday. You might have seen the 2 shorts. Hopefully I got it edited down to 2 shorts. It might have been 3. But I unboxed the track saw, and we unboxed the accessories, which in this case is 2 tracks. One of them is 55, one of them is 102, and some clamps that go with those tracks. So let's go ahead and check out the features of the track saw, and why someone would want to buy such a tool. Okay, so the track saw was actually one of the first major purchases I made after I started working for myself. The reason was, at the time I was working in a 300 square foot garage, and in such a place you don't have room for a big table saw. So in order to cut down sheets of plywood, because I do a lot of stuff, but the thing I'm best at is cabinetry. So in order to be able to cut down big sheets of plywood to make cabinets, but without having a table saw, I decided to use a track saw. I got the long length and the medium length, so that way this one would handle ripping a sheet of plywood, an 4x8 sheet of plywood. That one would handle cross-cutting a 4x8 sheet of plywood. So yeah, because at 102 inches, it's 6 inches bigger than the 4x8 sheet of plywood. So it is come in very handy. And of course, that first one I had was corded, and I obsess about getting cords off of things, try to be as cordless as possible. So I eventually sold that corded one to someone and bought a cordless one. All right, so we can go over some of the features of this. So what's very interesting, I can push it forward freely, but it's got a setting on it. I can't pull it back on the track. And of course, you really wouldn't want to pull it backwards when you're cutting, but there's a way to change that. So the lock for that. Oh, you know what? Before I do anything else, let's get this battery back off while I'm showing you stuff. Safety first, people. All right, so inside here, let's see, get you the best view. This little dial here, it's going to be hard for you to see. No matter what I do, it's going to be hard for you to see. All right, so I'll do my best though. So if I take that, it's got a little hook on it. Man, you can not see that. But if I take this and hook it onto that piece there, shifting that, that makes it so now I can slide back and forth. And really, probably is a safety feature. Probably would be good to unlock that before you make your cut. Then you could always re-engage it after your cut's done to be able to back it on up. So we've got a speed dial on it. There may be times where you want a slower speed. For the most part, I put it on 7 and I rarely reduce it at all. Let's wait on that. All right, so it's got a safety trigger. You have to push this one on your thumb with your thumb forward, then pull it, and then that starts the motor and releases the lock where you can then make the plunge. It's got a dust port here, so you can connect a vacuum to. It can do angles, so it's got a lock nut here and a lock nut on the back. And if we loosen those, then we can go all the way to 45 degrees. Actually, ooh, this one says 47. I wonder if my old one says 47. We can go all the way to 47 degrees. I have used this before to miter together fake beams out of plywood. Nice sharp cuts. Oh, there we go. Now I can show you the lock. Now you can see it easily. Glad we did this. All right, so this is the lock. This is engaged so that you can slide it back and forth. So now it's disengaged, and you can only push this forward on the track. Let's look at the bottom. Let's see why. All right, so here we go. So that's what you're seeing. So when I engage it, what it does is it pulled this little wheel back. And so when that wheel is in place, it's on a spring, keeps you from being able to pull it back along the track. But right now the wheel is out of the way, so you could slide either way. Cool. Okay, we are back at 0. So what I like about this, as opposed to the Festool or any other tool systems that have mimicked the Festool, is the Festool, well, and at least the ones I was using 12 years ago. They could have changed the technology, I don't know. But the Festool does like just a scissor motion when it's plunging down, whereas this one actually drops down. So I feel like this is more like a true plunge than a scissor motion. I really like that feature. I also like the fact that it's half the price of the Festool, so there's that. It does have a nice depth gauge here, so you saw that. That's fully extended. So let's see what that. We still have the battery out, right? Yep. Let's see how deep a cut we can do. Oh, I can look at the gauge. What am I thinking? It's about 2.5 inches. It's about 2.5 inches. But it's got a gauge here, so you don't have to have the blade fully exposed. It's a lot safer. Let's say you want to cut it at 1.5 inches. Well, then my suggestion would be put it at 1 5/8 inches. and then it'll stop you at 1 5/8. Yeah, let's go ahead and drop that. Oh, I don't have a tape measure with me. Okay, never mind. Well, we aren't measuring the full depth yet. It's about 2.5 inches. All right, let's see. Okay, now as far as changing the blade goes, they make it fairly simple. So in this handle is an Allen key. Then what you do next, I'll talk you through it first and then I'll show you. So next you push down on this button here. Oops, I just did. So you push that down and that locks the trigger. And then I can push this down until it stops. And then this piece I will rotate. So this piece here gets rotated around. It's connected to that. So let's see if I can do it while giving you as close a look as possible. And watch your blade. The battery's out, but it's still sharp. So pushed it down and then, oh, wrong way. And then lock it. Boom. So now that's locked. Okay. Now what you do is this thing that we just rotated, I'm going to push down on this while rotating the blade that's sticking out until it stops moving. There's no good way to show you all the processes. Maybe like this. So I'll push that, real carefully rotate this so I don't cut myself. Oop, did you see that went in? And now the blade ain't moving. So yeah, and you got to have it depressed once you let go. So I'm going to let go of it briefly just to get a better grip on it. All right, so now that's depressed. Blade is not moving. So a little trick, this arrow is really to tell you which way the teeth go on the saw, but it also is a cheat that tells you which way to turn your wrench. So you turn the wrench counterclockwise, and you pull out the screw, and you take this off, and then your blade can come free. And you don't even need to take the splinter guard off, which is nice. So then reinsert your blade or put in your new blade if you're taking out one. Now, I don't know if you can see it. There's indentations there. Yeah, you can see it. And there's nubs on this. So nubs go in the indentations. Yep. Screw goes back in, turning it clockwise to tighten. Oh, and remember when you put that blade in, teeth going in the direction of the arrow. Okay. Then finally, then we unlock this. Okay, that releases that. And then we're still locked though. I'm gonna put this Allen key away so I don't drop it. Okay, and then finally, kind of like push this, and I don't know, honestly, I just play with it till it goes finally. So it did release. This is free again. And we can pop in the battery and keep cutting. Okay, so the nice part about this is these tracks have rubber on them. I'll give you a little view of the track. So it's got a center ridge that it runs off of. So unlike a Festool track, I can use either side of this, so it's reversible. And this rubber on the outside, so this rubber is, well, this is more like a plastic, and this helps the saw to slide. It's an aluminum track. And then this outside, this black part is rubber. And it comes out extra wide when you first get it. And then the first cut you make with the saw cuts that rubber. So then after that, once that rubber's cut, and eventually it'll wear out and you'll need to replace the rubber. But for a long time after that rubber's cut, the rubber lets you know exactly where the saw blade's going to be. So you can make marks on your plywood or whatever you're cutting, and you can set the rubber edge right on those marks and then make your cut, and it's good. Like I say, eventually the rubber will wear out, and down the road we'll show you how to replace those. Whenever these need replacing, we'll make a video and show you how to do it. I feel like I don't really want to cut the rubber now. I want to wait until I'm ready to do a job with it. But I also want you to be able to see the saw in action. All right, guess we're cutting one of them. We'll cut one side of the 55. Okay, please watch your ears. You know what? Actually, what I'll do, I'll leave it on. Please watch your ears. If you got headphones on, maybe turn them quieter. So when you're using this, it's also got rubber. So in addition to the rubber that we're going to cut through, it's got rubber here too. So it's got some grip. So when you set it on something, it's not the easiest thing to move. However, if you want to be precise, if you need to know that it's not going to move on you, that's what these clamps are for. So it's a trigger style clamp. It's got this extension. You can use it. You don't have to use it. Sometimes you need it when you're setting things up. But the nice part is this goes right into the end of the track. And then that allows you to clamp this to whatever you're cutting. Nice and stable. I will usually use them. It's kind of rare when I won't. but you also don't have to. It's just something that's available to you. We're only going to clamp one side for this. Okay, so the rubber looks like it's only 1/8 of an inch thick, so we're going to set this for 3/16. That's 1/2 inch. That's 3/16. Okay, don't over tighten this. Snug it up. If you are gentle with things, they're going to last longer and they're going to serve you well. So make sure the battery's full. Battery is full. I'm not going to connect a dust connector, so I'm going to just kind of turn this port so the dust will at least kick off that way. We're not going to run this very long, so I'm not going to go find hearing protection. Just going to put in my other earbud. Okay. Now actually though, so you can hear that it's got a little bit of slop to it, and I know we can adjust that. I'm actually going to take a break. I'm going to read the instructions so I do it right. Okay, so I just read the instructions. There's a lot more that I could do with the saw that I never thought about, but we'll get into that in another video. For now, we're just going to go over the basic uses, and then we'll do a more in-depth on this crazy tool later. This one's even Bluetooth capable, and I think a vacuum that I bought is Bluetooth capable, so I should be able to use this, and when I turn it on, the vacuum would kick on. Ah, cool. All right, anyway, so to adjust the rails so it's nice and tight, so there's as little movement as possible, is I loosen a screw in the center of this, and then I turn the knob until it's tight and won't move, and then I just back it off a hair until it moves easily again. And there's two knobs to do. So I'm going to make those adjustments. And it looks like I need a flat screwdriver or some sort of Allen key. We're going to go with a flat screwdriver. Oops. Excuse me. All right, can you see me? You can. So I've loosened the screw on the knob. Interesting, yep. Okay, so now I want to hold it in that position. That feels good. There's a little bit of slop. Let's see if we can get that tighter. Okay, it's very little movement. Let's go ahead and do the back. Because obviously it can't be completely tight. Okay, so the back doesn't move at all. Front just barely moves. Let's see if we can eliminate that. Okay, so it feels like it's got just like the littlest bit of friction, but it's moving pretty easily. I'm not forcing it, and there is no side-to-side movement now. There's no lateral movement, would that be? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut through this so you can see it in action. Let me find a block of wood, and I'll explain why when I do. Do I need any of this? I don't think I do. All right, so I just want to lift this up a little bit because, I don't want to do that. That's a little too high. Let me find something small. Oh, let me get a piece of that 1/4 inch masonite. There, here we go. A couple pieces of cardboard. It doesn't need much. All right. Okay, but I just wanted a starting point so that way, because it's got that ribbing knife in there. So, all right. So we're on the track now, on by about 3 inches. I'm gonna get it. We're more like 4 inches now, because I want to plunge this down and then cut the rubber one smooth motion, so that way I have a real nice sharp edge for later. So push the thumb forward, and then you pull the trigger. As with a lot of my cordless saws, it's not very loud, honestly. I mean, I would still wear, if I was using it all day, I'd still wear hearing protection, but not that loud. All right, here we go. Okay. Oh, it's clamped. Clamp is off. Oop. So that's the only thing you got to watch. The extender comes off fairly easy. The one that I have down south, I'm missing the extender on one of them. Okay. So we got rubber sawdust all over the place. But now if you look, this is the one we cut. I don't know if you can tell easily on the camera. This piece of rubber is a lot wider. This one's been cut. And now, until it wears out, and it will wear out eventually, but for a good long time, possibly a year or more, depending on how much I need it, I can make marks on the plywood where I want it to cut, and then I can line this rubber directly up with those marks, cut right through them. So that's the basics for the track saw. Just using that, you've got quite a bit of information. Now, if you are cutting through things, you always need to back it up, because if you don't support it and then you cut through a sheet of plywood, as you get closer to the end of the cut, it's just gonna fall. So you want 3 or 4 horses when you're doing this kind of thing. You can also do 2 horses, set up some 2x4s in whichever way it needs to go, so that way you're completely supported. So that way, when you're done with your cut, it's not going to drop or fall on you. And as always, I don't think I say this enough. So do these things at your own risk. If you don't feel like you can use the tool safely, please hire a professional to do the work. But if you are someone that is capable of using this, and you've read all the instructions and you know all the safety tools, this is an amazing tool. It is one of the workhorses at the shop here, and having it be cordless is just an added blessing there. So that's all for now. Like I said, double checking some stuff in the instruction manual, there's some things I could do with this I didn't realize. So we're going to do down the road another take on this track saw, and we'll show you some tips and tricks and secrets. For now, that's all I got for you. If you're working, please work safely. If you're drinking, drink responsibly, and do everything with a little bit of whimsy, and you're going to have a good time. I'll see you next time you're hanging out at Izzo's place.